If you've been around my channel or my social media in recent years, you'll know that I really dislike Five Nights at Freddy's 2. My biggest issue with the game is the gameplay. The game is incredibly easy and anybody with a mouse and keyboard can absolutely beat it. And hell, maybe they might even enjoy their time, but I am someone who likes to push their limits in these games, and after years of putting it off, I tried the max mode, 1020, also known as Golden Freddy mode, and holy shit, Toy Bonnie's RNG is not at all exaggerated in the memes. Along with Toy Bonnie, FNAF 2 is extremely RNG, as are most official FNAF games, but the max mode for FNAF 2 is especially egregious. The vent animatronics, Mangle, Toy Chica, and Balloon Boy all have a 1 in 10 chance of leaving every second, but they can wait until 5 seconds in which they are guaranteed to leave, so they have about a 40% chance to leave until 5 seconds where they are guaranteed to leave. Keep this in mind, we'll come back to it later. Withered Foxy also has RNG, but it's not as noticeable in my opinion, and I rarely had trouble with him. As long as you're flashing the light just before he's able to kill you, his timer will reset. But all of these guys pale in comparison to Toy Bonnie. I posted a YouTube short a while ago where I put the odds of Toy Bonnie failing movement opportunities on screen, him taking a whopping 5 seconds. For those who need context, Toy Bonnie has a 1/2 chance to leave the vent on every 0.5 second interval. So the best case scenario is you put your mask on at 2 seconds and he leaves the vent on 2.5 seconds. However, in this video, which I will unaffectionately refer to as the Toy Bonnie clip, he waits for 5 seconds, or 10 failed intervals where he can leave. This would be like flipping a coin 10 times in a row and only landing on heads when you're looking for a tails. This is a 1 in 1,024 chance. The thing is, this happened more than one time. So what is being done about this? There are a plethora of Five Nights at Freddy's 2 strategies that try to combat this creature, while also keeping Foxy, Puppet, and Fredbear in check. Yes, I called him Fredbear. Fight me. It's a little telling when all the strategies revolve specifically around Toy Bonnie, while the others are secondary issues. The most popular and most accessible one is the Brayden Strategy, made by 8Brayden8. The Brayden Strategy is currently the most consistent and best way to beat FNAF 2 for any player, and it's only fair I give a brief guide on it. That being said, if you've already understood the Brayden Strategy, or don't care much for technicalities and time intervals, etc., skip to this time on screen for something much more interesting. But if you do find time intervals interesting, stick around. First thing to note is you're never to leave the prize corner camera. Checking the other cameras is effectively useless in this max mode. For the first 19 seconds of the night, you want to wind the music box until every 4.5 or 9.5 second interval, then drop the monitor while holding control to flash the hallway. This is so that way you avoid Golden Freddy intervals and will allow you to flash through blackouts. After 19 seconds, you want to hold the right vent light until 25 seconds. This will stall Toy Bonnie so that way he doesn't get into the vent. Before you flip up the camera on 25 seconds, make sure to flash the hallway at around 22 seconds. I personally do it on 24 seconds. However, do not flash it more than once. There's a very rare chance that Golden Freddy appears in the hallway, only happening when nobody else is there. This means somehow Foxy, Freddy, Toy Freddy, and Bonnie all need to be out of the hallway. Somehow, if that's the case and you flash too often, you will die. Starting at 25 seconds, wind the music box until 29.5 seconds. And then as you flip down the monitor, hold control to stall Foxy through a blackout. The reason you stop just before 5 and 10 seconds is so that Golden Freddy is unable to appear. If he were to appear, he'll kill you when you flash the hallway, meaning you wouldn't be able to flash through blackouts. After you drop the camera on either an X 4.5 or an X 9.5 second interval, you're in the office cycle for one of 5 scenarios. The first scenario is the most common, where Freddy, Toy Freddy, Bonnie, or Chica will appear in your office. Put the mask on and all that shit, just like stated before. However, hold control as you're doing this so that way you can stall Foxy. And if you're on pace, hold the mask on until the next 5 second interval, or keep it on for 0.75 seconds just after the blackout ends to be safe. This will remove all left vent animatronics and Mangle. Then go to the right vent and hold the light until 40 seconds. Make sure to flash Foxy on 39 or 37 seconds to be safe. Flip up on at least 40.1 seconds to avoid your monitor being forced down due to animatronic queuing up and or Golden Freddy spawning. Wind until 44.5 seconds and then flip down the monitor while holding control to put on your mask. This will be your strategy for the majority of the Brayden strat. However, this game isn't that simple, and will occasionally throw you to something I like to call the RNG gauntlet. But Vivi, this is removing RNG from FNAF 2. Unfortunately for you, Toy Bonnie. Welcome to FNAF 2. Scenario 2 is when after you're done with the blackout, and you see Toy Bonnie in your right vent. This will happen often, and I'd argue too often. I really hate that bunny. Wait until the next X2 or X7 second interval, and put on your mask. Frankly, your next step is to hope and pray he leaves the vent quickly. Remember the clip? Now wait until just after the next 5 seconds to go back into the cameras. If you're bleeding the music box timer, you can quickly wind just before the next 5 seconds. However, that's incredibly risky, and often you will have enough time. Another thing to keep in mind is that your immediate next office cycle, you do not have to stall Toy Bonnie, meaning that as soon as you take off the mask, you can go wind the music box until the next 4.5 or 9.5 second interval. Scenario 3 is when Toy Bonnie is in the right vent, but there's no blackout. Immediately flip on the mask if you see him. After he's finished, continue your cycle, flashing the hall and flipping up just after 5 and 10, and flipping down at either 4.5 or 9.5, etc. And just for good measure, say please whenever Toy Bonnie leaves. Scenario 4 is when nobody's in the vent at all, and there's no blackout. This is a best case scenario, frankly. Immediately flash the hall and go back into the cameras until the next 4.5 or 9.5, and continue the cycle from there. Finally is Scenario 5, where there is no blackout, but either Mangle, Toy Chica, or Balloon Boy are in the vent. Put your mask on for 5 full seconds, treating it as if it were a blackout. This is so if you miss your event noise, you don't fumble the bag and reset the mask timer. After 5 seconds, lift the mask up, flash Foxy, and stall Toy Bonnie until the next 5 or 10 second interval. There's a chance that Toy Bonnie appears because either you didn't click the vent light fast enough, or you just got unlucky, Five Nights at Freddy's 2. So tell me, dear viewer, how do you handle this situation? A. Wind until the next 4.5 or 9.5. B. Put on the mask and hope he leaves early. Or C. Flash Foxy and stall until the next X2 or X7 interval. The correct answer is press F2 to restart the application, because there's no way in hell you'll get lucky enough to wind the music box after that. Hearing that, you must be ecstatic to learn that this is the least RNG-intensive FNAF 2 strategy for the average person. And yet, the RNG is still there because Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Remember the clip? Other than that clip, how was I doing with 1020? It can be summed up in one small clip.
What the fuck?
Okay, maybe I've been hammering the Toy Bonnie RNG a bit much. How about the other animatronics? Well, it took like 3 days to get a hold of Golden Freddy's timings, and I have a surprise amount of deaths from him of all characters, and a few Foxy deaths of me just skill issuing to be real with y'all. I would also like to mention that I took a lot of breaks due to being extremely frustrated, which is why my first completion took a week. But other than Golden Freddy and Foxy, the other animatronics didn't give me any trouble or anything, other than the occasional skill issue by Chica or Bonnie. After 7 days of bashing my head against the RNG wall, I finally completed 1020 mode on Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Oh my lord. FNAF 2 is incredibly easy, said with an asterisk for Toy Bonnie RNG. I have at least 20 deaths to the puppet. Only 1 or 2 happened because of a genuine skill issue. The rest happened because Toy Bonnie refusing to move his fat ass into the office, meaning the box would wind down too much and I would lose. Or just bite the bullet, press F2, and reload the game and not have to deal with another annoying ass jump scare. If FNAF 2 was to be completed without run-killing RNG, we would have to somehow remove Toy Bonnie. But you can't do that without turning 1020 into 920. And would it even be fair to say you beat 1020? If I'm gonna be honest, yes. Frankly, if you beat 1020 but remove Toy Bonnie, I wouldn't blame you at all, and honestly, I would count that as a victory in my books. There is the -3 glitch, either getting rid of the classic trio or the toy trio by glitching the cameras and selecting the stage and or parts and surface camera before flipping down the camera before the next 1-second interval immediately to permanently stall the animatronic. But that kind of feels like a cheat. I don't know, this kind of exploit just doesn't seem fair, and now we're back at a standstill. There's no way to remove Toy Bonnie, and because of that, RNG from FNAF 2. We're unable to make this a completely skill-based max mode. Except, if you've been in the fandom for a while, you have probably been shouting at me, shouting at the screen, a way to remove RNG from FNAF 2. Let me introduce you to my favorite max mode that I've ever completed, -7. -7 asks the question, what if FNAF 2 was fun? And it delivers. Now there's arguably one good guide on YouTube for -7, and it's not even a guide video. The Bones 5 YouTube channel on YouTube has a video, Five Nights at Freddy's with the worst RNG. And in this FNAF 2 segment, he uses -7 and gives a mini guide. So I'm going to follow in his shoes and put a -7 guide in an RNG based video. If you remember Night 2, Phone Guy says,
those older models would always get disoriented with bright lights. It would cause a system restart or something. Come to think of it, you might want to try that on any room where something undesirable might be. It might hold them in place for a few seconds. That glitch might have carried over to the newer models too.
This isn't a throwaway line to add some immersion into the game. This is present in the game's code. Flashing an animatronic on the cameras stuns them for 400 frames for 6.66 seconds. Remember when I said that the prize counter camera is the only useful one? I performed a fun verbal trick known as lying. Luckily, all 7 animatronics that are able to be stunned go through 3 cameras. Toy Freddy and Mangle travel through the arcade. Toy Chica, Freddy, and Bonnie travel through the main hall. Chica and Toy Bonnie go through the party room with the Paper Pals. So the general strategy of the night will be, start by winding the music box until around 6 or 7 seconds. Pull down the monitor and slam on the mask immediately to take care of Golden Freddy. Then take off the mask, flash Foxy, and then flash those 3 cameras mentioned. And start winding the music box until 12 seconds. This will be your strategy. On every X2 and X7 seconds, hold down the mask. On every X2 or X7 seconds, hold down the monitor, put your mask on and take it off, flash Foxy, and then the 3 cameras, and then go to the music box and wind until the next X2 or X7 seconds. I would also like to mention that I would mentally -1 to every one of these intervals to drop the cameras, so that way I could actually flash Foxy on the X2 or X7 interval. Notably, 3 animatronics cannot be stalled. Foxy, Golden Freddy, and Balloon Boy, FNAF's biggest chud. Back in the day, Balloon Boy was the fandom's punching bag. I remember because I'm a FNAF old head. But in recent years, Toy Bonnie has become public enemy #1. But the enlightened have seen that Balloon Boy is the biggest annoyance since day 1. Thankfully, Balloon Boy isn't too complicated. Many track his laughs, but I found it to be difficult, and I would often forget what laugh he was doing. Personally, I track the vent bangs, since he's the only one able to go through the vents with the other vent animatronics being stunned. When you hear the first vent bang, which sounds like this, keep an eye on the clock as you have been. Flip down the monitor just before the next X5 second interval, just like in the Brayden strategy. Wait until the next X2 or X7 seconds to flash Foxy and flip up again, this time holding control, and one of 2 scenarios will happen here. 1. The vent doesn't bang a second time. In this case, flash the 3 cameras and wind until the next 4.5 or 9.5, and repeat until he has a second laugh. 2. If you hear the second vent bang, flash the 3 cameras as fast as humanly possible. Hold down the cameras, hold your flashlight through the cam flip as Golden Freddy cannot spawn, and then put down the mask immediately. If Balloon Boy leaves early, wait until the next X1 or X6 seconds to continue the strategy. However, he has only a 1 in 10 chance to leave every second, up to 5 seconds where he will immediately leave. The former are called easy attacks, and the latter are hard attacks. On hard attacks, continue holding control as it doesn't require much brain power. Flash Foxy and immediately flip up the camera, flashing the 3 cameras. You should only have to click 2 considering how fast you needed to be for the first part of the BB attack. You have around 0.5 seconds to react at maximum. Personally, I think this is plenty of time, but one misclick and you are very likely gone. A good relevant advice is to always prepare for the worst, because RNG can never make -7 harder, only easier. Out of the technical woodwork, I would also like to mention that green running is extremely required. I have lost very late runs due to losing battery. Also, I would suggest using a sticky note on your monitor to click the arcade camera immediately, so you can flash the main hall in arcade within just a few frames. So all you need to click is Toy Bonnie's camera. So how is I doing with -7? God damn it. There's Foxy. Not amazing, to be honest. I don't know what it was, but for my first attempt, I could not wrap my head around the Balloon Boy phases. And instead of locking in or removing this skill issue, I channeled my frustration into hate. But frankly, the bigger issue is that this challenge was just super mentally draining. So I'm just gonna make this right now. This is before actually finishing -7 and before recording the rest of the video. I just want to make this little thing because I know I'm going to put it in the video. This challenge is the most fun I've ever had in a FNAF challenge. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I adore -7. It is such a fun skill way to express your skill in FNAF 2. But holy fuck, is it draining. However, you get to a point after playing this game for so long where deaths like that don't matter. Like, I just had a death 10 seconds from victory. It was at a 640, but if you know anything about Foxy's timer, that's 10 seconds from victory. And if I had enough battery, I would have gotten it. But I didn't. I didn't green run enough in the beginning of the run, and I fumbled. But this means I can beat -7, so I'm not actually that upset. Normally, I would crash out, I would scream at Toy Bonnie, curse his name, but Toy Bonnie's not the issue. You know, him and I, we're on good terms now, because he's not fucking me up. He's been a friend. Sitting his ass down in his camera. It's because, with -7, it's very hard, okay? It's harder, allegedly harder than NDC, 5020 NDC. It's allegedly harder than Sister Location Pre-Patch, which I will be doing, by the way. Maybe not on this channel. Oh, definitely Pre-Patch on this channel. Let's not get it. Pre-Patch will be on this channel. But, fuck. Man, this is, like, look at this. My personal best is 640. Ignore the timer. That's an auto splitter. Like, this is so frustrating. But I can do it. Okay? I am nothing if not determined. I don't know why I'm making this little report. Like, if you want to know my dedication, I put a fucking sticky note on my monitor. That's how, like, how much I want to beat them. And it's gonna be done. And then this video is gonna be out by the end of this week, hopefully. I'm gonna grind, edit. I'm gonna put a blanket over my microphone so it sounds good. Hopefully this sounds good. I'm gonna listen to this audio if it sounds like shit, but look. But yeah, no, I think I'm okay with this video. Because I know I will come back to this tomorrow and I will beat it. I will beat it tomorrow. And then I'm gonna go watch a fucking amazing baseball game. Go Padres. Yeah. Unlike the Brayden strategy, which was mentally draining and unfun, all your failures in -7 are due to your own skill issues. And oh my god, it does drain you. Don't get me wrong, -7 is really fun. I feel like I'm forgetting to talk about something. Oh right, Balloon Boy. Let me tell you how much I've come to hate Balloon Boy. Since the dawn of anti-Toy Bonnie strategies, BB has faded into the shadows, into obscurity. And yet, in my arrogance, I went looking for salvation against Toy Bonnie. It led me to make a deal with the devil. I would be able to remove Toy Bonnie's RNG and RNG altogether in FNAF 2, but at a cost. I would have to pay my tithings in pure, unadulterated aim, skill, and nerve control. Commit to timing so tight that it would break the average person. But I'm no average person. I'm overconfident. I push my skills to the limit of FNAF 2, and I've successfully removed bullshit RNG from FNAF 2. You have no idea how difficult that was. Before I wrap this up, I wanted to look at where -7 places on the ultimate mode list. For those who aren't knowers, this basically ranks max modes in different strategies. No Blackouts, also known as -7, is ranked number 336. It's definitely higher than I expected, but take a guess where 50-20 No Death Point is, what is widely considered to be the hardest vanilla FNAF game challenge. 455. -7 is almost 100 places higher than 50-20 NDC. Perhaps I'm goated with the sauce. I'm cutting that out, that was so cringe. Jokes aside, the difference between 500 and 200 is a smaller difference between 1 and 5 on the UML and MML. Also keep in mind that the UML is much larger, and on the MML, 50-20 is in the 200s, so it's not entirely a strict thing to go by. Thank you all for sticking around until the end. Proof for the Brayden strategy and -7 will all be on the second channel, link in the description. I know this isn't at all like my usual content, but I had this sudden itch to play FNAF, and I'm sorry to say, I fear it's sticking around. To get a little personal, I've been into creative and emotional dumps for a while now, and distracting myself with frustrating video games somehow pulled through. I'm sorry this video took forever. I'm a child of divorce, and every week I change from my father's to my mother's house and vice versa, blah blah blah. I got a week to detox from FNAF at my dad's place, but that also meant I had to de-rust after spending an entire week watching Batman with my father. Frankly, I would do it again, just because Batman is awesome, and it means I had to play less FNAF 2. Either way, thank you all for sticking around. More content like this will come out, but there's not going to be a schedule. So I'm going to make the content I want to, when I want to. Thank you all so much for liking, subscribing, sharing, hyping, the whole 9 yards. I don't do outros. See ya.